There's a whole lot of burnt toast out there. In a video where I talked about a man's cycle and a woman needs to understand a man's sex cycle, I received a whole lot of hate on my YouTube page, Lorenzo Reed 369, based on a bunch of women, for the most part, who are burnt toast. And when I say burnt toast, I grew up with my grandparents, and they had the old gas oven where at the bottom rack we used to make toast. If you're not paying attention to it, the toast will burn. So you take it out, you take a knife and you scrape as much of it, of the burn as you can off. But it still tastes a little burnt. You don't ever get all the burnt toast off. And many people are carrying around this baggage of burnt toast, and they apply it to every situation that they ever encounter. Now, in the video, I expressly said that if a man steps out on you, that is not the right thing for him to do. I say that he can be in the right situation at the right time to do the wrong thing. But of course, that part of the video is not heard by people who are burnt toast. And then they go as far as to start calling me narcissistic and weak and things of that nature, and saying that the two need to respect each other, and that a man's cycle is man's sex cycle is just him trying to find some level of excuse. Why is it always this double standard? It's always a double standard. It is the double standard that a woman, and in these cases, it'll be a repetitive thing, that the woman is saying that what the woman feels and what the woman needs and what the woman desires, what the woman deserves, is more important than what the man desires, needs, and deserves. A man is always supposed to be put on the back burner. This is why in the video I said that it is very easy for a woman to have the mindset that a man will sacrifice, and this is what they would call a real man. A man will sacrifice everything for his woman, but a man will sacrifice his happiness for his woman, but a woman will sacrifice her man for her happiness. And this is a repetitive thing that I kept hearing from all the different women who were complaining in the video. Of course you should respect each other. Of course you should communicate with each other. Of course you should have conversations. But if the conversations doesn't lend to where both persons are receiving their happiness, then the relationship needs to end. Plain and simple. I'm not advocating for men to go cheat. I'm saying that the relationship should simply end. And they just continue with this mindset. Why is a man's sex more important than a woman's love? Her love needs. How is that fair? It wouldn't be fair. I never said that it would be fair. I never said in the video that a man's sexual needs should supersede the need of the woman, but neither should the woman's need ever supersede the need of the man. It should be a mutually beneficial situation. Otherwise, neither one of you need to be in that situation. But this is the burnt toast. I've gotten hurt by a man before, so therefore I'm going to project that onto every situation that I encounter. And here again, another situation of the same, where a woman's need should supersede the need of a man. And that why can't you find a compromise to the woman? Well, if you were listening to the video throughout, one of the things that I talked about is the fact that, yes, a man may have the desire, he gets hungry. His sexual desire is like hunger pains. He gets hungry, but it doesn't necessarily mean he goes across the street and eat from another woman's table. He doesn't do that. That's not what he should do. That's not what I said. I said that the hunger is uncontrollable. And just like you're saying that a woman's cycle, menstrual cycle, is uncontrollable, just like you're saying that a woman has a baby, a woman goes through menopause, or any of these other changes that a woman's body goes through may not be controllable and are not controllable, but yet the man is supposed to compromise to the woman's needs. What I'm saying is that the man's sexual desire is not controllable to the point where he can cause the desire to go away, the desire to not be there. What is controllable, as I said in the video, is that the man's actions when he's going through these hunger pains of not receiving sex. So, yes, he may become irritated. He may become frustrated. It is for a man to then decide whether or not he's going to act prudently or he's going to act like a child and sit there and whine and cry, and then go eat at someone else's table, which I said was the wrong thing to do. So the man can't control his sexual desires, but he can control the actions that he takes and the way that he expresses it. I'm very clear about that. But it's unacceptable for a woman, for the man to even have the desire, and she automatically thinks that the man is going to go and cheat. Now, most men, not all, but most, and I'm talking about men, not boys, I'm talking about men, not ends, I'm talking about men, not immaturities, insecure dudes. Most men logically think through every situation. For instance, when I went with the Marine Corps, well, when I was in the Marine Corps and I went with the Navy on a ship for 6 months, logically, my wife is not present with me for those 6 months. So even though we pull into these ports where women are throwing themselves at us, I logically deduce that I am married, my wife is not here, she cannot provide sex for me, so therefore it would be unfair and improper for me to step out and have sex with any of these women who are pulling up in these ports. So for those 6 months, I did not cheat on my wife. Come back home, I'm with my wife. I go back out for another 6 months, I do not cheat because my wife is not there, logically thinking through the process. In the same way that when she had a baby, I didn't pressure her for any time frame for her to have sex, especially if she had a cesarean. How can I justify stepping out in a relationship? She just went through a cesarean and just had the baby. She's going through postpartum depression. And weirdly, I went through postpartum depression as well. It still did not justify me stepping outside of the marriage because I can logically think through the process that she's going through this change. She's had a baby. She had a cesarean. This happened 3 times. That's why I got 3 children. So logically, no, you don't step out and cheat. A boy does. An immature man does. An insecure man does. Not a man. He does not do that. And that is the point that you're not getting. I was simply talking about a man's sex cycle and how he is feeling. And whether or not you are mature enough, whether or not you are committed enough to acknowledge what this man is going through and to be his partner that you pledge to be, and make sure that your man is happy in the same way that he should be trying to make sure that you are happy through all your different changes. And see, in this type of situation, and every situation is going to be different. The video is very general because you cannot pinpoint every situation. But the guys who are in a relationship and they're getting sex on the regular, they're satisfied from their partner and they still cheat. Well, that's not a man, that's a boy. So they're not on a cycle of being a man. They're on a cycle of just being a greedy little boy and not honoring and respecting the commitment to which y'all have made to one another. If he's getting it on the regular, but he still goes out and cheat, there's something that's clicking in his brain that he is not actually satisfied. And he should have just been upfront with you and say that, hey, I want to have sex with multiple women. So if we get into this relationship, that's what it's going to be. But if he didn't do that, he's not a man because he couldn't express himself clearly from the very beginning. So therefore, he's not a man. So what cycle are they on doesn't apply because we're not talking about a man. We're talking about a boy. And here we are again with all the different changes that a woman goes through. But the part that I wanted to emphasize the most on this comment is the fact that she's saying that as you go older, it's the companionship, it's other forms of intimacy that are more important. That's what's more important to you. To you. My grandfather never got to a point where he did not want sex. My grandmother did. But that's how she felt. That's not how he felt. Neither one are right and neither one are wrong in being however they were. That's just how they turned out to be. And when you have that type of situation, he can still give you that companionship. He can still give you that other forms of intimacy. But that doesn't mean or nor negate his desire for sex. This is simply you saying that the man should capitulate to what your needs are. The man should capitulate to how you see a relationship, and however the man feels should be ignored, and he should just sit back and suck it up and just deal with whatever situation he has. These are situations that should be talked about. Before I engage in a relationship, I talk about what are we going to do when I'm old and you're old and I still want to have sex and you don't want to have sex. What is our compromise? That's a conversation that you need to have before you engage in a relationship. And this is just more burnt toast. Oh, she working all day. She taking care of the babies. If you're in a situation where both of y'all have to work, if that man is not also taking care of the kids, not also taking care of the house, then you have set that up for failure. You are not demanding that y'all have equal partnership within this relationship. He is not being a man enough to recognize that what's going on in the relationship and that the woman is not responsible for everything inside the house if she is also working outside the house. That is the conversation that you should have. That is a conversation you should come to the table and find some level of compromise of how it's going to work. If he doesn't want her to be tired, then do things to help her to not be tired. Allow for her not to work. Many of y'all are living on budgets that you can't really afford, trying to have some lifestyle. but just change it. It's up to you. Stop